Everyone, welcome to Unearth with Shelly Hughes podcast. I'm Shelly Hughes. We have Calvin Snowden on the show today, and I'm super excited because we connected, I don't know, probably almost a year ago.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes.
And we had a meeting, a few weeks ago, and we talked everything entrepreneurship, everything that honestly we can't even tell our spouses and our employees.
Yes, exactly.
And all the things that it's so hard when you run a business because there are anxieties that keep you up at night that no one can relate with.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. But guys, this is the Unearth podcast. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of running a business. We talk about the wins, the losses, and especially lessons learned about what it takes to build a profitable and passionate brand. And that's exactly what you have.
Yes.
So Calvin, do you just want to kind of introduce your company a little bit?
Sure.
What you do and how you're a little bit different from everyone out there?
Sure. So, my company is BDFS Group. We've been in business since 2008. We started off as a developer and we quickly transitioned to be a general contractor. We were doing mostly residential, and then when COVID hit, we switched to being full-time commercial contractor, doing everything from restaurant fit outs to apartment buildings and things like that. Now we're transitioning to doing affordable housing, which is a passion of mine, giving people good homes, and a great place to stay. So that's a little bit about us. We self-perform carpentry and masonry. So I have a staff of about 15, 20 people who work for me on a daily basis.
So what is it? And it seems like in 2008, you had to switch to being kind of general contract.
Yes.
just because of the
economy
and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But your focus really is affordable housing. What is it about that niche, both from kind of a business perspective and maybe a personal perspective, that really brought you to that?
So from the personal perspective, I look at the overall family structure, right? And I look at adults are pretty much set in where they're going to be, right? But I look at the children and say, okay, if we can give them a good home, they get a good night's sleep, they'll go to school and hopefully they learn a little bit more. And it helps them set the tone for a positive future and hopefully lead to generational wealth for them. A lot of times from all my years of being in this, I've been in some houses that probably should have been condemned that you would see kids living in, right? We do a lot of projects in Kensington, and I'm amazed at the young people I see walking to school through all of the different drug activity and all the different things. And I think to myself, I don't know if I could walk through this and then go to school, perform, and come back. So the main reason I'm passionate about affordable housing is hopefully helping young people, giving them a strong foundation for their future. Business wise, to be quite honest, I've always heard if you love what you do, the money will come. So it wasn't a thing for me like affordable housing. There's a lot of money. We did high end renovations where you made a lot of money, but it wasn't rewarding. With affordable housing and things like that, you're doing good. They're set up for first time home buyers, single moms, new families. You know that the people that get these homes are truly appreciative of it. And that is what motivated me. I'm big on workforce development in both science and construction and trying to give people opportunities to see things that they haven't experienced before. Life is about exposure. And if you have limited exposure, then you don't know what's out there for you. So the more exposure I can give people, the better. I hope it broadens their view on life overall.
So it's not just your clients that you're supporting, but you were saying the workforce development.
Yeah.
You're giving opportunities in ways that maybe some of the people on your team haven't really seen in the past. So tell me about your approach to how you build your teams and how you really you curate them from the communities themselves.
Yeah, so I tell everyone in grad school I took organizational behavior. It was one of the best courses I ever took because I learned you can't treat everyone the same. Everyone's motivated and moves differently. So since I've been in business, I've had a ton of people that work for me, but I look for people who are driven, right? If you show me, I don't care if you don't know how to use a tool or anything, but if you show me you're willing to learn and put the time in, we'll invest in you, right? And I tell people the best thing about working for me is I pay you to learn, right? So where does that happen? Where I'm giving you money on my dime to learn a skill that you can take with you and make more money. So we often hire, people to live in the community that are interested. We go to trade schools, hire. And so we've had a lot of successful hires. And the thing is, I don't have a lot of turnover. Most of the time, the people we hire stick with us for a while, right? We have a strong, what I call family structure, although we're a corporation and growing. We try to support each other wherever we can. And one of the things, like, actually, you introduced me, I can't, to the financial planning
Yeah.
group. They're now going to do financial literacy for us once a month. We had done it
That's
prior
awesome.
COVID, but my big thing is, you'll hear me use the word exposure a lot, right? So I have people who work for me that have young kids that don't know about college funds or planning for their retirement or understanding how money works. So I try to bring in stuff to my employees. I call it Developmental Fridays, where once a month we bring experts in to teach them things that they may not have exposure to. Because the idea is I want to develop the entire person, right? Now, do I have to do it as an employer? No. But I feel I'm less successful as an employer if I'm not improving people's overall life, right? And
Yeah.
I'm huge on generational wealth, right? It's important to me for people to be able to pass something on to the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, you talk a lot about, the exposure. It seems like it's a huge theme. You
Hmm.
talk a lot about supporting, you know, single moms and
Yeah.
these kids that, might not have an amazing place to eat and sleep.
Right.
I mean, and your leadership style translates perfectly to all those themes as well. Tell me a little bit about kind of your upbringing and
Right.
like how that plays a role into your vision for the business and
Right.
really how you lead.
Okay. So I grew up in Washington, D.C. I actually moved to Pennsylvania to go to college. I went to Valley Forge Military College first, then went to Temple, and then while working, I went through Penn State Great Valley to do my master's degrees. I grew up. I have twin sisters, my mom and dad, and my mom was a very caring person, right? And one of the things, I played football. And what happened was, and it still always stands throughout my whole life, my mother always helped other people. But what always stood out to me, and I even do it with my own kids and kids' activities, the mothers decided that they were gonna, so the football team would have energy. They would cook. If it was a Friday night game, they would cook dinner. If it was a Saturday game, they would make breakfast for the whole team. And what happened was, one of the kids, his name was Dennis. I can't remember Dennis' last name. At the dinner, when they first did it, they were charging like $10 or something. And I went to a private school, like $10, $20 maybe. And you paid, and that's how they bought the food. Well, Dennis didn't have the money. Dennis got the opportunity because he was on scholarship. He was a quarterback, and the school gave him a chance to play. And it bothered my mom, and she tried to make Dennis take a plate, and he was like, "No, no, I'm fine. It's okay. No." And it hurt my mom so bad that was my junior year. From that year on, my mother paid for all the food for the school for the entire year for the whole football team, because she was like, no kid will ever go hungry on my watch. And I've watched my mother do this, even now, she still helps people. And she put that into me. And as I looked at different things in life and different experiences and have friends in all types of areas, you realize that home is important, right? And if you are in a home where the roof leaks or you don't have hot water, things that we think about that are just common to us, not a big deal, mean a lot to some other people. I mean, just yesterday, we were walking through some houses that the people didn't have a kitchen in it, right? And what happens is it's going to be renovated through a program, but I just couldn't imagine living like that, right? And it's like, okay, how do we help? I have the ability and the skills to do so. So a lot of my upbringing was around helping others. And I've continued. I mean, everything from the workforce training to people in positions that they may have a home and they can't afford to fix it. We'll come through and do some volunteer work or something like that. But I just think it's important that if you're a little more fortunate than someone else, that you help give back. And that's from everything from even people who are starting off in entrepreneurship. I always take time to talk because, to your point, as you started this conversation, people only see the beautiful side. They don't see the.
We talk about that all the time.
They don't see the all the negative side, or the part where you're working in the middle of the night all by yourself, and that hard drive crashes and you lose all your work, or you just overall, like, you don't know who to talk to about a situation. So it's refreshing. Like the first time we talked like we went on for a while. It's refreshing when you have someone to share stories with. So I try in everything I do to try to always help people along the way.
So were you brought up in an entrepreneurial family, or did you have entrepreneurial role models? What got you to, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurship is people don't even see it as an opportunity at all, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because I didn't technically grow up in an entrepreneurial house, but my father ran the Small Business Administration. And what sparked my interest, I always liked to make money. And like, I had a little job at the rec center when I was in 4th grade, and they gave us a check, like, I think it was like $30, right? And I was like, what? I went and got a lawnmower and started cutting grass, and I was making more and more money. And I have my favorite aunt has always supported me in everything from my construction business to everything. But when I was young, she was like, "You want to get a better lawnmower?" And she introduced me to credit. She was like, "Okay, I will buy it. You will make payments at said interest rate." And I did. And these were the people around me who supported. And the funny thing is, my landscaping business I started in 4th grade, ran it through my sophomore year of college. In college, I had like a little vending. I sold stuff out of my room, sodas, candy, stuff like that. Graduate from college and I'm going to go get a job. And I never thought, let's go and start your own business. But it was the best 15 years of my life. And the only reason I say that is corporate America taught me how to present, to interact with customers, how to be able to sell. And I don't know if I would be where I am today if I didn't have that exposure, right? How to put together a good presentation, how to talk to an organ in front of a large audience, how to use Microsoft tools and different business tools so that I can be successful.
We have Irving here, by the way.
Yes.
We have our office mascot.
Yes.
Wanted to say hi.
Yes. He's giving me moral support. He's telling me I'm
you're
doing
such a great job, Calvin.
Love what you're here saying. But ultimately, all roads led back to entrepreneurship. And to be honest, the only reason I got into construction again was, or when I did it was, I worked for a large, a biotech company called Centocor. It was a growing company. Everything was great. They did a couple layoffs, and I said, well, I don't have a backup plan. So I bought rental property. And when I bought rental property, I built a team of guys who could do the work. And I said, whoa, I got a business here. So that's how that went. But it's funny because my parents are risk adverse. So for this, they're like,
I know all about that.
Yeah. They're like, you're out of your mind. Who leaves a good job, a promising job, but as we know and discussed today, even a good job's not promised. Someone can take it away from you.
Yeah.
So I'd rather control my own destiny as best as I can.
I mean, tell me about, I want to go into launching BDFS. So 2008 was not the easiest year to launch anything. Tell me about that timing. Was it intentional timing? Were you planning on this, or did you kind of get kicked in the butt and needed to do this? Like what tell me about that first year.
So the funny thing about the first year is it was 4 of us. So BDFS is the first initial of each partner's last name. And when we started, we all had specific roles, and we were all over the place, right? We were going to invest in real estate. We were chasing foreclosed homes. We were doing this, we were doing that. And we didn't have a clear path. And one of the things that happened in '08 is we did a lot of meetings and a lot of stuff, but we had to get off the pot and do something. And what happened over time was the B of the organization dropped off. Then the F in the organization dropped off. And it just left the D and the S, Downs and Snowden. And we're still together. She was an attorney, or she is an attorney. And she actually, it was funny because when we lost the one of the people in the group was an actual contractor. And when he left, Deidre, my partner, I said, oh, I don't know what we're going to do, Deidre. She was like, Calvin, if you haven't noticed, you do 95% of the everything. I think we'll be okay. And those few words there gave me the encouragement to say, let's go, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened was, little by little, the company was growing. And I still remember, so I left the company I worked for 10 years ago. I was soon to be 11. And I was at Mother's Day on a Sunday. I'm in Lowe's in Plymouth meeting. I called my mother to wish her a happy Mother's Day. And it's crazy, right? I'm an adult. I'm on my own. I have a job. And I called my mother to wish her a happy Mother's Day. And she goes, thank you. She's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, Ma, I got to go to a project and do some plumbing or something. She goes, how come you just don't quit your job, right? Like, you're 50% in there, 50% in there, and this, and you're probably not good at either one because you're only giving it 50%. I was like, really? And I quit, and I decided I was going to quit. And I quit. And it was funny to hear my mom say it, right? Now, I could have made the decision, but I think part of me was held back because I was worried about what they would think, which was crazy because I was in my 30s and I was on my own, paying my own bills. And that was the first time, as I called it, I jumped. And I took it, and the cockiness of me was like, I've always had good success at work and everything. Oh, well, when I got out here on my own, it was a whole different ball game, right? Everything they teach you in grad school, man, that stuff, that is good and theoretical, but it isn't all real. And so I learned a lot, and I taught myself a lot. I found a lot of great mentors along the way. Because it's the other thing that always amazes me is there's a lot of people who won't share information. Where you would think they would be like, hey, this is what I had to go through. Or like, I don't need you to tell me the juice is nasty. To be like, I don't believe you. Let me have some. So I like to talk to other people to hear, well, what worked for you? What didn't you? And so along the way, there were a lot of obstacles, but now I'm here where I am today and I don't regret any of it.
So it's really interesting that you started off with partners, right? I think I was just talking about this with our brand. In the beginning, we grew so organically, whether you either hire your friends or you hire people because you need bodies, or you hire people just because they're there and you need help, right? So tell me about, and we don't have to go as in depth, we can go as in depth as you want, but tell me about just having partners in business. We don't have partners at Noli Roots, right? And how you would approach it if you would ever again, really building out a business that has multiple
One of
partners.
The things that I tell people all the time, just had a conversation about this yesterday, is the best time to form a partnership and figure out what it's going to be is when no money's been made, right? The biggest mistake I see is me and you'll say, hey, let's start a business, right? And we'll just go, right? Next thing you know, the business is grossing. We're making a lot of money. And you're going, Calvin, you're not pulling your weight. And I'm like, what? I'm doing all this. And because we never wrote a good partnership agreement to define what my role is or your role is. And now we have this money and we're trying to divide it up. Or someone grows to resent each other. So for me, I can work well with partners. But my experience has been majority of the time is I haven't found besides my current partner, I haven't found a partner who puts in as much time as I do, right? And or is driven to push it forward. I call it the Michael Jordan syndrome. I have a lot of people who want to see me make the shot, let me take the shot. And it's frustrating, right? But there are some good partner situations, but you gotta really lay out what everyone's role. And I think why like my partner and I worked so well and this lasted so long is we were clear on what she wanted to do and I was clear on what I wanted to do, right? So she handled all legal, tax, issues like that. I took care of everything else. And then she worked on the financing, different things like that. She didn't want to be client facing. She didn't want to deal with the men or women. And so we worked really well. And the thing is, I also have a lot of respect for her. She's very intelligent, graduated from Harvard Law, and she would be my set. Like I'm a risk taker. Like I'm all in, and I would call her and say something, and she would just kind of be silent on the phone. So I would know that meant do a little more due diligence, Calvin. And I've had partners who will tell you after, I'm not doing anything. I want to see what happens. And then I'll put, and you're like, well, wait. So partnerships aren't for everyone, but I will say a lot of times I think people use partners as a crutch because they're afraid to try it on their own. And they feel that you need this other person to really go after it.
Yeah. I love seeing the scale that you've been able to grow. And it's something that we talk about a lot with clients. A lot of our clients, they're kind of in this transition period, whether they are scaling or they're adding a bunch of new people or they're going into a new market or launching a new product or whatever. And so it's this transition. And I feel like as entrepreneurs, if you're not in some kind of transition, you're staying in this kind of comfortable space. You're not growing the way that you should be. So tell me about what has been the hardest shift in your mind from being a founder, because you're still a founder,
Yes.
but being a founder to now really being the president or the CEO or the leader, right? The mindset shift.
Right. So there's a couple things, right? So first, I'll talk about me last, but I'll talk about the hardest thing to accept as your company grows, as you make the jump from here to here, is that some of the people that started with you won't finish with you because they don't, no matter how bad you want it for them, they have to also want that level because every step you go up requires a little more of something. And the hardest part is for people if they've never worked, again, I worked for a large pharmaceutical company. I saw it operate at a high level. I know what it's like to be in corporate big business.
Yeah.
If you've never seen that, and I'm trying to sell you the vision and you can't pick it up, or to be quite honest, you may not want that, right? Everyone doesn't want to be, some people are just happy here. Then they don't
For
want to
sure.
be here. So that has been the hardest thing for me is there's a lot of guys that we've had a lot of great times together and worked a lot of years together, but I've had to go, you're not ready to be at this level. So I put them on stuff that they can still do. And then identify new people to work with. And I think for me personally, what I had to accept was one of the things is everybody has a role in the company. Mine is I just happen to be the leader of the company. But I had to take that role more seriously. I had to make sure that I was given clear direction. I was given building strategic plans for the company, clear objectives, and we could no longer operate as a mom and pop. We had to operate as a corporation, right? To your earlier, you said like putting SOPs and procedures and implementing systems. that we can track stuff. The biggest thing that we're implementing is we're putting in performance appraisals and reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've never had that before.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be able to have something to measure by so that you can get an annual raise, right? And it's all these things that you go, okay, we have to do it. This is going to be new. And how do we get our employees in line with it? Because it is, you got to realize the change curve as we talk about is that people aren't comfortable with change, right? And doing little things like now we have a formal payroll problem. Well, what is it? I don't understand. Well, it's a benefit for you. You're going to pay taxes. You're going to be able to get tax return. You'll be able to buy a house. You'll be able to get a car. Like all these things. And so a lot of times you have to show the employee because they haven't seen it before. But the hardest thing for me, I say out of all of it is leaving, and I hate to use the word leaving behind, but leaving behind guys that helped me get to this point. And I'm still very cool with all of them, but I also know their capability. And I hate to say I'm saving them from themselves because at that next level, they may not do well, and it may be a problem for them as well.
So has it been, as you scale too, you have to let go of control at some point.
Yeah.
So tell me about, has it been tough to let go of control as you scale?
So yes, and it's not like I'm a control freak. It's more so I want things done, right? And I want it to get done. And so sometimes it takes a little bit longer to coach, get it done. But the short term of me getting it done leaves this other person without learning and being able to do it, right? And so one of the big things that I'm letting go is what's important for me. My company makes money off of estimating so that we get the job and managing it. I'm now transitioning finance off to, I have a CFO now, right? So we meet every day. I use the Oprah approach to finance. She signs all her checks and so do I. So I always know what's going on, but I'm giving up the responsibility of doing the invoicing, doing all of that. I now have a project manager that runs the projects. I used to go past the jobs multiple times a day. I may go by once a week now because I know my primary role is business development. And so the thing that I've also had to give up is by empowering people to do these things, I have to allow them to develop the process. They can bring it to me and I can look at it and say, well, I wanted this, but I have to accept this is the way they think. This is the way they handle it. Let's go with this. So, and I realized I'm a coach, right? So each employee, we sit there, I give them a chance to, we do the one-on-ones and have conversations to help them understand what's going on. So, buddy, you're going to be a star.
Let's talk about mental health.
Yes.
Have you ever felt the weight of this work really pull you into something that I'm going to say the scary word depression that no one likes to talk about, right?
Yes.
So I feel like we talked a little bit earlier is every entrepreneur having a small ounce of anxiety. Yes. A healthy ounce of anxiety is not a bad thing in entrepreneurship, but I want to hear your thoughts about mental health and kind of what you've been through as you're building this company.
So what's interesting is one of my mentors, as I met him when I was at a corporate job, and he had a cleaning business and a large scale cleaning business. So I invited him for coffee or dinner, and I said, look, I really want to pick your brain on entrepreneurship. And he's like, don't even worry about that. You got that. Let's talk about health and mental health. And I was like, what? So, and he talked about he had suffered depression. And I thought to myself, what is he talking about? $50 million business, all these things. I don't understand it. So he pre-warned me. So I left corporate America 2 years, 3 years after leaving. I began to suffer from depression. And at first I didn't realize it. Like I would work all day and no one could tell. Like I was my normal self, life at the party. But all I wanted to do when I got home was just go to sleep because in my mind, wake up the next day would be a better day. And so I realized that I was suffering depression. And you realize that a lot of it is self-imposed, right? Because you're putting all this extra pressure on yourself you're assuming all these different things. And, I wasn't talking to people to get Calvin, you just put more pressure. And I had went to an event where a young lady was speaking and she was talking about how she was depressed. I was like, oh, wait, I think I'm depressed too, hearing it. And I said, well, you know what? I had to get out of the funk. So every day I said, tomorrow's going to be a better day. Woke up, do something and think positive. And one of the things that I did was I realized how valuable peace of mind was. So I focused on removing everything out of my life that disturbed that peace of mind, right? If you were a negative person, got rid of you. If you didn't, even clients, that was one of the most critical things I learned at that time was that you could fire clients. And I got rid of clients and gave back money. Like, I'll be like, I tell you what, this isn't working for me. We're going to step away from this job and here's $20,000, $30,000 back because my peace of mind, you couldn't put a value on it, right? Because I tell people that you just wanted the noise to stop, right? And one of the most powerful things when I talk to people who either are going through depression or tell me, like, you have, and it still breaks me up to say it. Like, you have thoughts of killing yourself, but you're not really going to do it. But it was more so.
Like those intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, because you want the noise to stop, right? You want people to stop calling you looking for money. You want people to stop, like, you just want to just have peace. Well, what I had to learn through this whole process was I decide if I have peace or not. Because I don't have to answer the phone. I could put that phone away or, like, it's going to get better. Like, the thing is, you're at a point, you just got to keep working your way through it. It will get better. And a lot of times you may not see what the end is, but the situation I had was, I think I forgot it was a job and we lost money and it was like $30,000. And I was like, oh my God, it's so bad. And then I got through it, got myself in a happier place. Did a project and lost 650,000. It didn't bother me as bad as the 30 because I had conditioned myself. You can make more money. You can do whatever, but you cannot get mental, your mental health. Once you lose that, it's hard to regain.
And so no one starts a business to feel miserable.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And I feel like when you first launch a business, it's that first year is just energy year.
Yes.
Second year is kind of a make or break year, right? You're either going to survive or you're not.
Yeah.
And then the other make or break year is year 5.
Yeah.
Right. And so now it seems like you put some boundaries in place, but how do you check in with yourself now to make sure that the boat is still staying buoyant?
So that's a great question. I take self-awareness, right? It is really becoming knowing yourself, right? I know that if I don't get enough hours of sleep, I am not a good Calvin. And all I mean by that is my patience is limited. So when I feel that way, I keep myself from being around people because I don't want them to see that side of me. The other thing is I've gotten comfortable with taking the weekend off. And all I mean by that is I may watch movies and sleep. It's a little more difficult now that I have a family, but you have to do things to recharge your battery, right? And I'll be honest, having conversations with people like you, I refer to it as recharging my battery, right? You get low, you want to have a conversation, and you go, I'm not the only one going through this. So there's times where I just take time for me. It may be an afternoon where I just might just kind of take it easy. Because you have to take care of yourself because so many people depend on you. If something happens to you, then there's multiple people impact. So I've learned to appreciate myself a little more. One of the things that I'm focusing on this year is I used to like run marathons and do a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I gave it all up. Wasn't the plan, but I would just say, I'll go tomorrow and focus on the business. So I'm trying to get back into stuff where now, my physical health is right. But I do check in with myself enough to know I can feel when I'm off kilter and know that I need to take a little time for me. And I think that sometimes when we give so much of ourselves and want to help people, we feel guilty about taking care of ourselves, but it's an important part.
And we talked a little bit about this, about, losing friendships or having strained relationships, right? And kind of I think that's just like we talked about, even people within the business, the people who help you start the business are not going to be the same people to help you grow the business.
Right.
So tell me about, and I always talk about, I think we talked about this last time, I have circles, right?
Oh, right.
And so different people are in different circles, themed circles of my life.
Right.
Whether you're like very few people are in my business circle.
Right.
If people near and dear to my heart that are not in that business circle ask me about the business, I give them short, sweet.
Yeah. Things are great.
Things are great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for asking.
Yes.
And I'm going to change the subject, right? Same thing with parenting. Same thing when I controversially went with midwives instead of OBs when I had my 2 kids. Like I have different circles that if you bring an ounce of fear into that circle, I'm going to respectfully not let you in. Right. So have you lost friendships or strained relationships kind of along the way?
Yes, many. From friends that don't understand and family that don't understand what it means. So I often say to people, and I think about it a lot, starting a business, what are you willing to give up, right? Because you sacrifice a lot. You miss events, you miss moments, and people don't understand that, right? There was a period when I was going through the depression and getting myself together that I stopped speaking with my father. And to be honest, everyone thought it was something between him and I. It was more me, right? I needed to get myself to a good point. I've lost many good friendships and strained relationships from either me not coming to events, I try to make it, but stuff comes up, or a lot of times it's just misunderstandings, right? And the problem is you can't mend it, right? You hope, and it's tough because I think as you get older, your circle gets less and less and less. And you meet some good people along the way. And sometimes you hope you can restore the friendship, but sometimes it's, you can't repair them. But along the way, there's countless friends. And I think about it, sometimes I think about it because, these were people who played important roles in my life that probably have gotten me through different points. But, because the nature of what I do or what they do, or hell, I don't even know sometimes what happened. It may be simply we didn't call each other.
And you just forget.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. People that I used to be best friends with, I'm like, what even happened?
Yeah.
Like, why? Apparently something either big happened that I just don't remember now. And, but it's, and I also think it's people that just don't understand I talk about seasons a lot.
Yeah.
And don't understand the season that you're in.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you really believe that, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there,
right.
Do you really believe that huge sacrifice is needed and required to build a profitable, passionate business?
You cannot attack building a business like working a 9 to 5. You never know when the opportunity, right? Every morning you wake up with the hope that someone's going to call you for business. Now we go out, we try to build new relationships, we try to do things to create the opportunity, but our checks aren't guaranteed. So classic example in my life is my wife will go on vacations. I don't go, right? And they'll go, and I just can't be away that long. Now, look, I got a better team in place. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to go away. But then all I'm going to do is worry about what's going on.
Do you want to go away, though?
Not really. Like,
tell me why.
I love what I do, and I love business, right? For me, I think if I didn't tell you this example, at the first week in July or end of June, my family went to the beach for a week. So I went down to visit them. I would come back and forth. We sat on the beach for 3 hours, and it was the worst 3 hours of my life because I'm like, this is all y'all do? Like, nothing's happening here. Like, we're not doing anything. And where I'm truly happy is in business and business discussions. And I don't enjoy, like, I've tried to get a hobby and I can't. I don't, this is it. Like, my business is what I'll find a couple things to do, but like, I don't have an interest in going and seeing different places and things like that. Doesn't excite me. Now, if there was some business there or something like that, absolutely. But I ask myself, because I am changing who I am because it's not fair to my family. And I don't want my wife to always be out there with the kids by herself doing different things. But that is not what motivates and gets me excited. I don't have an interest in vacation. I love, I don't, I've, I don't even, I can't tell you the last time I took a day off. And it's just because I enjoy what I do.
Yeah. So what is really the one belief that's helped you lead through the hardest seasons?
Knowing it'll get better, right? Knowing that this is only temporary. And that's the hardest part. I've had some great career coaches and personal coaches. And the last coach I had gave me the 15-minute rule. And if something bad happens, you just give me 15 minutes and then the rest of the day. Because you'll let one thing ruin your whole day. And once I took on a positive mindset, now I always try to find the positive in everything. And that's what gets me through, right? Because once one negative thought seeps in, it can derail you, right? So just imagine you get up in the morning, you start your day, something goes wrong, right? I don't know, your son loses your shoe, you're 20 minutes late, it upsets you. Then you call your favorite work chat friend, and then they're telling you how life sucks and this and that. All day you have negative energy. Guess what? You're going to feel negative, right? But all day long, if your son loses your shoe, right? 20 minutes, you get in the car, you drive, and you see a car accident. You go, damn, that 20 minutes kept me from being in that car accident, maybe. Or, you're talking to that person and they call you and be like, hey, I'm just calling to say, have a great day. You're a rock star. Man, that makes you feel great. You go in, you give a presentation, you kill it. All these things lead to, by the time you get home, you're feeling good, right? I try to leave. I pull up in my driveway, sit in my car for a few minutes. It drives my wife crazy, but I'm letting anything that went bad throughout my day, let it go. Cause then I gotta go walk in and be husband and dad for the next few hours. And my son, daughter, wife, they need me at that moment. And so what always gets me through the tough times is it's going to be better. I don't know when, right? You don't know when it's going to happen, but you got to believe it's going to happen. And look, stuff's going to keep happening. Like, it'll be like, can't get any worse. And then you go, oh God, it just got worse, right? But you push through. And I call it going to college, right? You pay to get lessons. That's when you learn from each one. And then when you come out, you go, how did I not let that happen again? Right? If I ran my reserve down to zero, well, wait a minute. Maybe I should have paused and done this. Or one of the hardest things that I've had to do is lay people off because well, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And I'm burning money. And I don't have enough to cover all the people. But in actuality, I should have said, guys, I need to lay you off for a period. When things get better, I'll bring you back. And they have the ability, they'll go out, find opportunity or get by or whatever. But those are the things that you just have to kind of get comfortable with. But you got to know it's always going to get better. You can't, as I say, there's no cheat code to life. Like, people will be like, well, I did this. And what I've seen also, the people who took the shortcut, they're not around in the long term because they've taken advantage of every way to get around it, the system, so to speak, or whatever it is. And it doesn't work out in the long term.
I feel like we're so involved in our own heads, like what drives me crazy is when we're in bumper to bumper traffic. People are pissed. People are annoyed. People are just so angry about what's going on, but it's because of a car accident up ahead of us.
Yep.
And how self-involved does someone have to be where they're so annoyed that they are 15 minutes late to wherever they have to go, and they don't think, oh my God, like, first of all, I hope that person's okay.
Right.
Second of all, thank God that wasn't me.
Right.
Like, I'm so happy that I was behind everything that happened.
Right.
And it's true. It's feeling grateful about the little things. It's communicating when you're not feeling your best, right?
Yeah.
Like I texted my husband, I was feeling that healthy ounce of anxiety, this morning, just for no real reason, right? But it was there, and I'm like, just let you know, I was probably a bitch this morning, and this is why. And he's like, cool. Like, cool. And so it's communicating. I feel like it's communicating how you're feeling in the moment, not to make it an excuse, but just to let everyone know, like, this is what I'm going through right this second. I'm working on it. I recognize it. I recognize that my tone is a little curt, right? And this is what I'm trying to do to fix it.
And that's the self-awareness, right? And like I said, when I don't get enough sleep, I know. And I try to avoid my wife, my kid, because the patient level is like, boom.
Yeah. So what advice, a lot of the people who listen to this podcast, they are founders, or maybe they're not exactly founders, but they're in a transition phase. They are scaling, like things are changing in their business. What piece of advice do you have for founders who really want to build something that lasts without losing themselves when they're in that position?
I think the most important thing is good processes, right? And good goals. Like, you got to understand where you're trying to get to. Like, when I started in '08, it was all over the place, right? I didn't write a business plan. I didn't do any of that. And it's okay to fail, right? Failing it teaches you what not to do. And then sometimes people have a hard time with failing. They're like, oh my God. No, you just refocus and regroup. Because to your earlier, 3 to 5 years it takes to build a business. And, I don't care what people tell you. In a year, I'm doing $1 million. No, it's 3 to 5 years, because you truly have to work through and figure it out. And don't be discouraged as you go through the process. But it's key, as you mentioned, the communication. If you're married, have a spouse, whatever, keep them involved, right? Now, as we discussed, right? You don't tell them everything, because they can't handle it.
No, you do not.
But you do.
We love you guys, by the way.
Yes. And that's why we don't tell you. Because both of us don't need to be worried. Like, I need you to be like, I'm like, okay.
I need you to constantly be my cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me everything's going to be okay.
Yes. But make sure you include them, because entrepreneurship can be a very lonely road. Because one of the silly things that used to motivate me when I was working late is I would look on Facebook and you see all the green lights. And most of those people were people who had business.
Wow.
And I was like, if they're working in the middle of the night and I'm working, I'm not alone. Because it takes a lot to achieve your goal. And the other thing is, don't measure your success based on someone else. When it happens for you, it's going to happen. You don't know what that other person is doing to get to where they are. You just hold your course, hold your plan, and let it take you to where you want. Because so many people worry about what's going on over there. And look, I'm happy for you over there. I will be your biggest cheerleader and encourage you and say, great job. But I don't worry about, well, why did that happen for them and that didn't happen for me? It just wasn't my time yet. So I think I will say, just hold the course. It will happen. Just give it hard work. And in the end, it'll all work out.
Calvin, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
I appreciate it. I think I love learning from you. I love listening to you. Like you said, your angry voice is the same as your happy voice.
Exactly.
Like it, even, the confidence that you bring in everything that you've learned in your experience, it's really powerful. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Obviously, if you like this episode, please like and review, send it to a friend that you think would get a lot out of it, and we'll see you next week.